It is time once again for the weekly closes on our favorite Bitcoin miners. But before we get going, go ahead and check out Capital Curiosities. It's a new YouTube channel. They've got a brand new video coming out tomorrow. You can see that on the premieres. They've got 3 videos already. They do financial histories in terms of scams and frauds and other sorts of interesting historical events that happened in the finance or business space. I've been enjoying their videos. If you enjoy this channel, you might enjoy their videos as well. So go ahead and check them out. If you like them, give them a subscribe. Let's get into the Bitcoin miners. All right, so we're going to start with Cleanspark here. All right, so it is, we closed 4% up on the week. This is a bit of a doji, so we got a bit of a doji here, but we are on a clear move up. You can see we're doing a clear upward channel. We are closing ever so slightly near the top of this big red candle here that we got on February 24th. So I don't like that we didn't close above that, which would have been 926. I don't love that. We hit the 21 week at 933 and we stalled out there. And that was largely due to the bad earnings. We got bad earnings. Look at that. They missed earnings per share by 344%. That's a little bit embarrassing considering that Bitcoin was largely trading well over $80,000 the entire time, and they're one of the biggest Bitcoin miners around. So that was a little bit embarrassing. So don't love that. We will need to see some better performance out of Cleanspark going forward, but Bitcoin has been driving up, so that's good. Now, 2 things of note though. 2 things of note. The BX Trender on the weekly. BX Trender has been green 2 weeks in a row, and this week it grew, and it grew a lot. Okay, it grew a lot. You can see the volume oscillator is getting smaller to the gray side, which means that eventually we'll flip to the green side, and that will be excellent. We are just about ready to cross over on the RSI into bullish territory here. We're at 47.56, so I actually like this. I think next week, if Bitcoin can continue to drive higher and we don't get really bad trade war news, we could see this crawling up to the 50-week moving average around $11, maybe even the 200-week moving average at $11.12. Okay. Excuse me, the 50-week was at 10.50, so we could see that move up. On the downside, I really don't see it going much lower than 8.50. At this point, if we were to go down, I would not expect it to go much lower than 850 unless there's really bad trade war news, okay? Or Bitcoin craters. So right now, that big line in the sand, 933. Once we conquer 933, we can move up to 1050 with ease and then possibly even $11. We conquer $11, well, then we're opening up into a space where we can move up to 15 quick, fast, and in a hurry. So go ahead and pay attention to what's going on with Cleanspark. I am in the warrants. The warrants for the week are up 14%. Now you can see we're still kind of flattened out here. We're still pretty flattened out here in terms of where it all looks, right? I don't hate it though. I don't hate it. We're up 14%. I like it. We can maybe reclaim that 30-ish cent range there. I had 15,000. I sold a third of it at 40 cents, and I have been rebuying since between 15 and 23 cents. I currently hold 28,000 of the Cleanspark warrants. Some people have been asking for videos explaining the warrants. I'm not going to make a whole video explaining the warrants. I've done it before. Just understand that Cleanspark goes up, warrants go up higher and faster, and it is kind of like a call option. I do not intend to hold these things to expiration. I do not intend to exercise these things. I am trading them. If you do not trade options, you probably won't really think of warrant. I have no intention of ever exercising these warrants. I want to sell them for a higher price than I bought them for. That is it. I want to trade it like a stock. I have no intentions of doing anything beyond that with this ticker. Okay, so I don't really care about knowing how to execute it or when all I need to know is when it's executable, because that will significantly increase the value of it, and that's about it. And what Cleanspark is doing. I don't really need to know anything else about these warrants in terms of how I want to trade them. I'm going to trade it like a stock. Being able to execute it, it only matters in terms of what the price value of this warrant will be, not about actually executing the warrant, because I have no intentions of doing so. Okay. Of course, nothing I say is financial advice and not a suggestion to buy, sell, or hold any asset whatsoever. Simply telling you that I am trading this like a stock. I'm looking to buy low and sell high on the Cleanspark warrants. I do not want to execute them the same way I have never really wanted to execute any of my options trades. Okay. All right. Let's move on to Mara. was up 8.84% today. It did close, this week, it did close above the 21-week moving average at $15.47. It closed the week at $15.76. That is great. We got our first week on the BX trender. That was green for Mara. That's great. That's really nice. We got the oscillator for the volume is squeezing there. That's beautiful. We got the RSI just half a point away from being bullish. Mara is looking good. I like this. This feels good. We got above this big red candle here, which CleanSpark failed to get above. It's same candle from a different week, but same level on the chart for it in terms of where it needed to get above in order to be extra bullish. Mara has done it. I like this setup on Mara. To the upside, I'm looking at 1680. That's going to be an area of battle for this thing. To the downside, I would see 1550 as a support. Below that, 1424. But if we can get over 1680, we're going to hit $19, $20 very, very quickly without too much trouble, assuming that we don't get any bad news on the macro to drag it down. Let's take a look at Iren. Iren up 7.81% this week. I have started reloading my Iren. I've been buying options on Iren, so I've been buying call options. I bought the $7 call option for March 2026. That's what I've been buying. Hold on. Did Mara report earnings too? Yeah. Mara also reported earnings, and they were also horrendous, just like CleanSpark. All right. Just wanted to note that. All right. Anyways, so Iren closed above the 9-week moving average which is at 697. So as long as it holds above $7, Iren is looking pretty good. It goes below $7. It can move as low as the bottom of this descending channel here, which next week will be $6.12 before I'm worrying about it. If it gets below $6, then I'm gonna start worrying about it. But as long as it's above $6, I'm feeling decent about it. As long as it's above $7, I'm feeling really good about it. I really want to see it get above this red candle here from March 24th, which would be 745, 750. But then once we get above that, we've got set 820 to 858, where we're going to hit a lot of struggle on Iren to get above that 21 and 50-week moving averages. Once we're above those, though, we've got room up to about $10, where we will struggle up to about 11, and then once we break free of 11, we're pretty much clear sky all the way back to the top of the range here at about $16. Okay, so that's what we're looking at with Iren. I like this. Iren has not printed green on the BX trender yet, so it's a little less bullish than Mara and CleanSpark. But if we look at the volume oscillator is getting smaller and staying gray, so that is good in terms of volume squeezing towards the upside versus the sellers are disappearing, and the RSI is crawling up towards that bullish level. So I like that. Let's take a look at Riot. Riot was up only 1% this week. That was a bit of a disappointment, but it did close the last 2 weeks in a row above this major red candle here, which was in March 24th. We're above it, but we are struggling right at this yellow line that I've got drawn on the chart here, which is 854, which is just below the 21-week moving average and the 50-week moving average and the 200-week moving average. So Riot's got more of a battle ahead of it. It's got to get above 907 and 987, and then from there it can move up to 1171 before slamming into the biggest resistance on the chart right now, which is the 200-week moving average. To the downside, if 817 doesn't catch us, we could come all the way down to about $7 on Riot. And that's basically how Riot's going to shake out. You can see that the BX trender isn't looking too good yet, but it is getting better. It's light red and getting smaller. The volume oscillator is also getting smaller and staying gray. That's good. And the RSI is creeping again towards that bullish area there for Riot. So not as strong as some of its peers, but it's looking decent. It's looking decent. It is right now getting trapped between the 21 and the 9 moving average there, kind of smack dab in the middle. So I would like to see it do a breakage of that with volume. Let's take a look at Btdr. Ethereum broke out last week, and Btdr did nothing. It actually closed the week down 1.42% negative for the week on Btdr, even though Ethereum, which it holds quite a lot of, went up 20% in one day. So, and it's up another like 6 or 7 today. We'll take a look real quick at that at the end of the video, but it's going to have to be a separate video for like cryptos. Maybe I'll do a crypto weekend soon. Yeah, it's below the 9, below the 21, below the 50, below the 200. It's below everything except the BX trender. That now the momentums are looking okay, except for on the RSI. The RSI looks like terrible, but yeah, Btdr looks like it might fizzle out here if it does not pick up immediately, like really soon. Let's take a look at Bitfarms. Bitfarms did break the 9 moving average to the downside, but it's got the 21 there at 125 and the 50 at 159 that it's got to conquer there. So 171, I mean, it's going to struggle to get to that area where I noted before at 171. It might just hit 159 and roll right over. It doesn't look bad. This does look like a bull flag. We do get green on the BX trender, and the volume oscillator is looking good, and the RSI is starting to point more and more to the upside. We've been breaking trend lines. So I'm not too upset about this, but again, 125 is going to be resistance, 159 is going to be resistance, 171 is going to be resistance, and then 194 is going to be resistance. That's a lot of resistances to get through, and some of them are pretty tough on Bitfarms. Okay, and honestly, the institutions still have not really been returning to them in any real large volumes, so I'm not too interested. Cifr got smacked down there on the 9-week moving average at 310. It hit it and it fell down this week. It finished the week down 5.7%. That's not good. I don't like seeing that. This looks like a test and resumption. So it came down, hit the 9, and that's the test, the failure. And then it looks like we could get resumption to go even lower on Cifr. So Cifr is actually looking like it's setting up to go back down the other way. So I don't like that at all, actually. And the RSI is already starting to roll over there. So actually Cifr looks like a terrible chart. In fact, I hold some Cifr warrants. I'm actually up a little bit on those because I was buying them down here at like in the high 20s. So I think I'm gonna sell those on Monday. I think I'm gonna get rid of those because I hate that chart. All right, Corz hit the 50-week moving average and it rejected off of that. That's not good, but it's not the worst thing I've ever seen. The fact that it hit the 50-week moving average is actually pretty good. This has been one of the stronger plays around for a while now. The BX trend is looking good. The volume is looking good. The RSI is pointing up. That's all. Those things are looking pretty good. I would want to see next week it get above 939 and honestly $10. We crossed $10 on Corz, and I could easily see it getting into the resistance here between $13.29 and like $12. So like $12 to $13. I can see it easily doing another $2, giving us another 20% if it can get over $10 next week and hold. That would be pretty excellent for Corz. To the downside, if we fail and 868 doesn't hold us, which is the 9-week moving average, if 868 doesn't hold us, well, then we're going to come all the way back down to $7 on Corz. So the downside risk is $7. Upside over $10, we got a upside potential of $12. Right now, we're sort of in a limbo zone where I'd be like just kind of waiting right now. Let's take a look at Wulf. How's Wulf doing? Down 6%. I hate that. I hate that a lot. This is looking a lot like Cifr, actually, where it came down, right? Big way down. Came up, hit the 9-week moving average, failed there, and then if it continues to go down, we could see resumption where it would hit $2 again, and if it crosses beneath $2, well, then we could find ourselves coming all the way down to wherever the next level of support is, which would be about $1.29. So Wulf, the Wulf chart looks terrible. I hate that. Now, the momentum's, the RSI is speaking for all of it, right? The RSI is rolling over, even if volume is getting weaker to the sell side, and BX Trender is showing that it wants to go up. The RSI is showing that it does not want to go up. So I would need to see a significant shift in the RSI on Wulf to feel comfortable that same with Cifr, that it's going to try to move up. So basically, it's got strong resistance there at, what is that, 314, 388, and 416 and 498 on the way up, and to the way down, we can go all the way down to $1.29. So Wulf, I would probably be staying away from. Personally, of course, nothing I say is financial advice and not a suggestion to buy, sell, or hold any asset whatsoever. Do your own research, come to your own conclusions, take responsibility for your own risk. Now, let's take a look at HUT. HUT, actually, I don't hate it, but I don't love it. It's hitting the 200-week moving average. Now, this does look like it hit it and failed, but it wasn't much of a failure, right? We ended the week up 0.65%, okay? If it can get above the 200-week moving average, the other moving averages above are a lot weaker than that. So I wouldn't be surprised to see it break right through them. Like if it crossed up and above $14.08, which is the 200-week moving average, I would not be surprised for it to go right through $16 and honestly come all the way up to the height of this candle back here with ease, which would be about $19, $20. So we're looking at a potential like $6 upside-ish, about a $6 upside. And on the downside, I would expect that, this area here to hold at 1285, maybe even 1121, because there's a good amount of support right there beneath it. So we could be looking at losing like $1.50 or gaining $6 on this. So that's actually not so bad of a risk to reward on HUT. I would be more concerned if it were failing at like the 9-week moving average, which is also right there at the 200-week moving average. But unlike the other ones, the 200-week moving average is way lower on this one. And that is the tougher level of resistance. So if it can crack it, it will likely do a bit of a squeeze up. And we could see it squeeze kind of dramatically compared to its peers. Okay. take a look at Hive. How's Hive going? Hive, ooh, I don't like that. Same thing with Corz. Oh, sorry, not Corz. Same thing with Cifr and Wulf. Came down, hit the 9, and it's failing at the 9. And if we see it come down, it could come down, back down to these lows, which would be about 135, 133. And if it holds, then that would be a double bottom, and we could come up to maybe even as high as 281 off of that. That'd be pretty cool. But there is currently a downside risk of it coming back and testing the lows again. Right, since it's hitting the 9 and failing. Well, it did slightly cross and close above it, but not with much volume. Like, this is not much more than average volume. The momentum is kind of flat on the RSI, even though the volume is looking like it's starting to squeeze towards the upside. Those things are good. So it's not as dire as Cifr or Wulf in terms of where they looked kind of terrible. Like, you can see this RSI is still kind of pointing a little bit up. But if it can't hold that next week, like if we don't see this thing move up to 223 next week, I would say that there is risk of it coming back to 135. If 135 holds, though, if it holds, I wouldn't be surprised to see it rebound and go up to almost $3 pretty quick, like 130 to $3. We're talking about a real quick double up on Hive if it comes back down to there and holds at 135. So I'd be watching that pretty closely. I don't feel too bad about that. Now if it loses 135. If it loses 135, it can come down all the way down to like 60 cents or something. So there's your risk. I'd be setting my stop loss at like 131 on this bad boy. 131 would be my stop loss, or actually maybe 128 or 27, make it an odd number. You know, give it a little bit of room to breathe at that lower level there, like 127, 128, extra 10 cents than what I'm looking at here. And give it a little room to breathe and expect it to maybe like wick down to like 127, 128, and then maybe launch right back up into $3. That's what I'd be watching for that. Any lower than like 127 though, and it's gonna like fall through the floor and maybe go all the way back to 60 cents. So I wouldn't hold it past that because the risk is just too great. Can looks terrible. RSI is in the toilet. BX Trender is barely getting better. Volume is barely getting any better. No volume. There's no volume. There's no momentum. Can is absolutely content with holding here beneath the 9 moving average down here between 80 and 60 cents. It's very content down there until I see a candle break above the 9-week moving average, which is currently at 89 cents. Until I see that, I have no interest in Can. Can looks like it's just not moving. It's just treading water down there at the bottom of the range, not doing anything. Now, it will break out explosively at some point in time, but who knows when that is. So for that reason, I'm not interested. Let's take a look at Btdr. Btdr was up 28.71%. Ooh, I know I told you guys about this one early in the week. I said those institutions were buying. I said it was one of the biggest buys were coming through on Btdr. It was Btdr, CleanSpark, Iren. Mara was also a beneficiary of those big buys from institutions. Btdr's looking good. I like that. It crossed the 50-week moving average and the 21-week moving average in 1 week with volume. That is good. That's good. We might see it retest down here to like 1280. And if you get that retest at 1280 and it holds, yeah, we're coming all the way back up to $20. Okay, we're coming all the way back up to $20 on Btdr. If it hits this 1280 range, holds there, doesn't go any lower, and then takes off, and then like shows a green candle afterward, $20. Here we come. Btdr looks great. This is actually the best chart I've seen. This is the best chart I've seen all day. Let's go here. Let's draw a line right here. Let's draw a trend line right there, something like this. That's what I want to see. Lock that down. I want to see it hit this trend line and hold. So like it could wick as low as like $11 next week. But as long as it doesn't break and close beneath this trend line, yeah, $20. Here we come. Btdr is looking good. This is by far the best chart I've seen so far right now. This is looking fantastic compared to all of its peers right now. Actually, that's really good looking. So Luna, disappointment, continued to be a disappointment. It is coming up. It is doing a very similar thing to Cifr and Wulf and a few others, but we did get green on the BX Trender. We are seeing an RSI that is trying to point up, and we are seeing volume that is squeezing there. So maybe this thing could find its way back up to $2. Maybe. I'm still underwater heavily on it until it gets back up over $3, which it might only ever peak out back where I bought it from, and that sucks. But that's what happens with a lotto play, and that's why it was a lotto play, and that's why it was a very, very small, little teeny tiny position for me. So I'm really not worried about it. I'm missing out on one nice dinner, basically, for this stock, and that's about it. Anyways, that's all I've got for you today. We're going to take, one thing. Ethereum's breaking out. Ethereum is breaking out. It broke the 200-week moving average with big volume, big ups here. Look at that RSI pointing straight up. Ethereum, it is marking possibly the time for the alts to shine. Look today, Dogecoin up almost 16% today, crossing everything with volume. Remember when I said I was buying Dogecoin down here at 15 cents? Well, I'm still holding that Dogecoin. Okay, still holding that Dogecoin. And it's doing very well. I also bought some Sui. I bought some Say. I bought, what else did I buy? I bought some Solana. I have Solana. Solana also breaking all of those here. It is crypto altcoin season taking off. And if you want some exposure to Ethereum, so I got some through ETHU like I did before, except this time I'm not losing money. What I ended up doing was I sold a put on ETHU, which I sold a put down here at about, I sold it at $45. So it's got a little bit of room to come down and then go back up higher from there. I sold it for about 45 days out, pocketed about $600, so it was a little more than 10%. It's like 12% or something for, you know, a little more than a month hold. But if we open up on Monday, 7, 8, 10% up, if we just hold the gains that we've got right now through Monday, yeah, I'll be closing that on Monday probably for a significant gain, and then I'll reopen a new one. Anyways, yeah, that's if you don't have a crypto account, you want exposure to ETH. ETHU is a 2x Ethereum fund, and it looks like Ethereum is ready to at least try to make a run back to the upside potentially. And in this case, it could run easily up to about $94 before it hits any resistance from the left, and from there it'll chew through resistance all the way up to 134 before it gets another nice gap up to about 180-ish. So I'm watching ETHU very closely. Bitcoin doing Bitcoin things. Look at this chart. It is staying perfectly here within my channel there. I like that. I like that a lot. I'm feeling very, very pleased with basically all of this right now. That means MicroStrategy is doing pretty good. We closed the week above 405. So that means we've got room on this thing to go up to about 450. Okay, so MicroStrategy could hit 450, and if we get to 150 on Bitcoin, I think we might hit $500 again on MicroStrategy. But we are watching for it to roll over. The moment MicroStrategy starts to roll over and show lower highs, and like the first lower low it gets, like it breaks that 9-week moving average, or that, honestly, if we go to the daily on this thing, if we lose, this is what we're watching right here. If we lose the 21-day moving average, which is currently at 364 on MicroStrategy, I'm going to be running away pretty hard from that scenario. But look at this, we're just going straight up. It's leading the way. As long as MicroStrategy is leading the way, we're doing just fine. Okay, anyways, that's all I've got for you today. Please like, comment, subscribe, share this video. Check out the Trade Cave store, link in the description, as well as the channel bio. Don't sleep on Capital Curiosities. Check that out. You've got some time, I'm sure, over the weekend. Not much to trade right now, but we've got some fun stories to be told there in Capital Curiosities, and have a profitable day.